And they said, those questions are just worded as horse beep. Another word for poop. Anyway, I have kids. That's how you say it. The mic was hot, and Dana Lash of CNN said, the mic's hot. You may want to protect yourself, reminding him. So you've got now Boehner aligned with Obama, Boehner aligned with Harry Reid, Boehner aligned with Steny Hoyer. And then you've got Nancy Pelosi aligned with conservatives and Elizabeth Warren. Anyway, Louie Gohmert is going to try and bear all this out for us right now. He's in Washington. How are you, sir?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure, Sean.
Well, the House is still in recess, right?
Well, yeah, I feel like we're going through, as they say, a deja vu all over again. You know, last July we went through this, and the Speaker tried to rush a border bill through that. You know, we got it on Tuesday evening, and we were supposed to pass it on Thursday. And I agreed, all of our conference agreed with the principles that our members were put together, but we couldn't find out who drafted the bill. I kept finding, I still haven't gotten an answer on who drafted that original bill. And, you know, we got it Tuesday, and then you were helping. We were getting the word out on what all was exactly in it. I stayed up most of Tuesday night reading and finding and the problems, and it was a de facto amnesty bill. And by the time our members started realizing that, you know, they had a bill that didn't reflect the principles, they lost the votes on Thursday, and then people were going to say, wait, this isn't what I promised. I didn't. This isn't what I agreed to vote for. And so on Thursday night, there were about 15 or so of us that got in a room for 2 or 3 hours, and we worked out a decent border bill. I know Obama doesn't want to acknowledge that, but after that, our members felt so good about what we did. And if we had passed the de facto amnesty bill Boehner was trying to shove through, we would have been vilified, and we would have had a terrible election in November. But we passed a decent bill. And member after member said, you know what, that's the way we ought to do it. Get people that understand the issues and get them to, our own members, to fix the bill. And now, Sean, we're being told that, they're not wanting to come to us conservatives to get us on board to vote for this and try to fix it where we could vote for it. Oh, no. And actually, you nailed it. The conservatives, all the ones that I've talked to, and we've had some private meetings, different ones of us, but we would vote for one thing. It needs to be a very short-term continuing resolution. Only funds. I'd prefer to end in January. Others say, we'll go to February 15th. Either way. But then we also
in other words, you want a continuing resolution so that the new majority takes up the issue of spending and not people that are leaving and not...
That's right. The people that have gotten a no-confidence vote from their constituents, and I know you've been hammering this for days and days, that this is not the place to do long-term serious business. But
all right, let me focus you if I can, and let me get some...
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I know. All right. So I want to go through what happened here today, because you had a vote on the rule... Mm-hmm. And it was nearly lost by Boehner and apparently caught people by surprise. At one point, after the clock had long expired on the vote, they were down, the House Speaker Boehner on the rule was down 210 to 213. And then the vote switching started. And finally, it was 212 to 214. Representative Marlon Stutzman of Indiana flipped from nay to yay. That was 213 to 213. Then Representative, what is her name, Kerry Bentivolio, a freshman who lost the primary, switched the vote, making it 214, 212. Now, So then after that, they reconvened and they decided to go into recess, which is usually a bad sign and could signal that they don't feel confident that they have the votes. And then we got the temper tantrum from both Boehner and his spokesman, saying, well, we may stay here until Christmas, and then, threatening members. So where do we stand now?
Well, where we stand now is, from information some of us are getting here, is they're trying they've got Obama that is lobbying Democrats to try to get them to vote for this bad omnibus because it doesn't, rein him in. And you've got Pelosi that's trying to get him to take out a couple of things, and then the Democrats will give him enough votes to pass it. And what is not happening, Sean, is no phone calls, no emails to conservatives saying, all right, let's work this out so we can pass it with conservatives instead of having to go to the most liberal Democrats.
Yeah. So much for by the way, so much for
in the summer, and it didn't work. And everybody said that's the format we want to use. Let's go forward. And what does he do? The same thing, trying to ram.
All right, but
through.
there are only 16 of you that went against the rule today. Do you expect when the actual bill comes up that there's going to be a lot more House Republicans that vote against this bill?
There are many, many more than 16 who have said they will not. They don't want to vote for this bill.
Now, let me focus you further. What is it about this bill that you don't like besides the $2.5 billion for illegal immigrants?
Well, for one thing, it doesn't give us enough time to review all of the pork that may be lying in here. Just today we found another provision, billions more than we realized were in there already, to carry out his illegal amnesty. And there's no telling how much bad stuff is in there.
So you are like everybody else.
Time to review it. This is not the way to do it.
Yeah, well, the bill grew 171 pages overnight.
And you've talked about this day after day, but those of us that have been meeting and talking, and I told Kevin McCarthy yesterday, and I told Steve Scalise, and Steve Scalise, this is not his doing. He counts votes. The policy is not his. He's counting votes. We had a wonderful discussion. He's a good guy. But I told both Steve and Kevin yesterday, if you want conservative members, we will be on board. Just give us a short-term continuing resolution into early next year so that Republicans in the House and Senate will decide, and let us have an amendment we can vote for in the House that negates the president's amnesty action. And we're even willing to structure a rule of procedure that we pass that would allow the Senate to vote to strip it out and then allow it to go on to the president. I've checked. It can be done. And I know you might say, well, why would you do that? Well, clearly the Senate's not going to vote for it. But what we've been doing for 4 years that is just totally wrong, we have allowed the Senate not to take tough votes. And if they're going to strip it out, they're going to have to take the hard votes. I tell you what, Sean, if we'd been making them vote on all these things that never came to the floor and Boehner didn't use his leverage to force it, then we would have 60 votes coming up in January instead of 54. But we don't make them take the tough votes. But if he would do that, give us a short-term CR, get us into the first
year. All right, let me slow you down. Okay, because we're short on time, and I want to. No, that makes a lot of sense. I agree with you. Make them take the tough vote. I agree, but you don't want to have. But you won't make them send it back to the House. I got it.
Right.
All right. Next question. The two issues that most conservatives like myself, and there are really three from me that I'm most concerned about. Number one, this does nothing to stop the robbing of our kids' piggy bank, and it funds the government throughout the whole year. I don't like that. That's not my biggest issue. Two of the biggest issues for me is one of the biggest leverage points Congress has and the new majority will have is the power of the purse. Right. And that means, look at this poll on Obamacare. You guys can defund Obamacare, and there's nothing the president can do in the next Congress. Why would we pass a budget that doesn't deal with that funds Obamacare for a year? And secondly, why would we fund a budget and take away leverage that we have on a whole variety of issues, and including immigration?
Well, and it's one of the many things I love about you, Sean. You're very consistent. You've been saying these same things for weeks now.
I know, I'm a broken record.
And there's not a good answer. I mean, you have to really want to get Democrat liberal votes instead of conservatives to be pushing what's being pushed.
This is why I don't think Boehner ought to be the speaker. You know, this is the frustrating thing for me, Louie. I kept urging Republicans all throughout 2014. I said, yeah, you probably will win running against Obama, but not putting forward a governing vision, solution-oriented agenda of specific things they wanted to accomplish. Now results in
from other commentators, but you're exactly right. We should have had a plan, and I liked all of yours. There are other things we can do in addition to a penny plan, but we should have shown a vision. Some of us were advocating, let's put out, a mini contract with these are what we will do if you'll give us the chance. And people were saying, no, we don't have to do that because people are going to be so mad at the Democrats they'll put us back in. So we got in the majority in the Senate. We picked up more seats in the House, not because we did something to deserve them, but because the Democrats have shown themselves and people see, and they wanted to give us another chance. But that's all it is another chance. And we can't blow it by being unfaithful to the people that put us here.
This is a moment of truth for Boehner. And if Boehner can't get this right, and he wants to be a good old boy in Washington and do it the same old way and not be bold and not only stopping Obama's agenda but helping to get the country back on the right track, then he doesn't deserve that job. This is pathetic to me. But, all right, and you got Elizabeth Warren telling everybody, kill the bill, kill the bill. Nancy Pelosi, kill the bill. So now
but you've got Obama and Reid and Hoyer saying, come on, let's negotiate with Boehner and get what we want in there.
Yeah.
Negotiate with conservatives? No. Negotiate with the president and liberals? Yeah, that's what he wants to do.
That's pretty pathetic. All right, Louie, thanks as always. Appreciate it. Keep us up to speed if something breaks. We'll see you tonight on Hannity. We'll update everybody tonight.